A star will be born on this episode of Won't You Be My Gamer. We are joined by Hollywood historian Mark Wanamaker, a star in LA of his own right. And we are talking about the old studio system, classic starlets, and what goes into making a Hollywood classic movie. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty of that. And a little bit of an unorthodox game choice here, right?
We are playing Sims 4, but don't worry, we're guided. It's the Get Famous expansion. So that means we're going to become a famous actor. Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Choosing her career.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. No question here. She's going for actress.
I'm going for actress. I've already practiced my speech in the mirror. I too lack talent, but I'm going to practice.
Yeah, can work ethic make up for a lack of talent?
Well,
asking for a friend.
I was in the music industry. I was already a musician as a kid and all this. Not a prodigy musician, but I did play viola.
For the record, no talent.
In junior high school, we were all recruited to be in the Music Man at Warner Brothers. And I'm in the marching band and the Music Man.
Wow.
Later on, when I was at LA City College, we were all recruited to be in Hello Dolly. So we were all in the marching band in Hello Dolly.
So when in your young career did you get to doing equestrian stunt work?
Well, basically when I was at Corriganville, which was all related to, Westerns, of course, I was about 10 years old, and they wouldn't put me on a horse. It's too big. So they put me on a burro. Later on, when we were in Spin and Marty, we had to know how to ride horses because we were already 13 years old, 14, getting up to that, larger horse.
Yeah. You can't ride a horse by then.
Yeah, of course. So anyway, that's how it all started and this and that. And eventually, it's a long story, but I ended up at the American Film Institute. So I ended up learning the business of laboratory work, camera work, all this stuff, and learning how to do all this. And while I'm doing all this, Columbia Pictures was leaving their studio lot and joining Warner Brothers, creating the Burbank Studios, 1970. And they were going to throw away their photo collection. The woman from the publicity department called AFI, would you take a donation? My boss said to me, yeah, we'll take it as a donation. You arrange to get it and you catalog it. I don't know how to do that. We hired a librarian, thank goodness, for our book library. She said, you have to go to the Academy Library. You have to go here and there and research the history of Columbia and the film titles.
Try to contextualize these photos. Yeah.
So I went to the Academy, and then I discovered Moving Picture World, Motion Picture News, Film Daily Yearbook, and there was the whole history of the film industry in front of me. I ended up in the research libraries at all the studios. I started to do picture research. Then I saw about the actors, the back lots, the studios, the technology, the cameras. I went nuts and became a researcher, historian, creating my own archives on the whole behind the scenes of Southern California history, intertwining with the beginnings of the film industry. A lot of the early days, they used already a novel. That was already proved
so some
itself.
kind of IP or something that has connected with an audience already.
Yes.
Okay, so
absolutely, that's
established
an insurance
IP
policy that your film will be successful.
I mean, that still seems to be the way that Hollywood is operating, and
Well,
for better or worse.
On and off. They still experiment with these artistic films, which nobody ever sees. Why do they do it? They won an Academy Award from it.
Yeah.
And guess what? That hasn't changed. That goes way back.
Do you think that Hollywood moves in these cycles then? Because you've seen so much of it. Yeah.
Yes. So the Western film industry was an industry within the industries. So MGM, Columbia, everybody had a Western unit within their big studio. That was the bread and butter. Mm-hmm. In other words, they can do their art films and stuff, and they flop. But there was always money coming in from the Westerns, action pictures, serials. Same today, pretty much. I mean, the action pictures. Marvel is the same thing. It is the bread and butter for any studio.
It's the hero's journey, right? We always return to the hero's journey, like whatever
all
these
pictures,
stories
all
are.
the heroes, and they're doubling up and tripling up on the same thing. Superman, Batman, and all the other men, and the women too. Batgirl.
Need more women,
and
for
Catwoman,
sure.
and all this stuff. These are proven moneymakers.
Speaking
Star Wars.
Speaking of women starlets in the industry here, Nicole, how's the career doing? I haven't seen you leave the house yet.
So I just left the house because my social skill was going down.
Okay.
I do have on my calendar an event today where I'm going to meet a celebrity.
But is that going to help you?
No, but it's preloaded into the Get Famous
I
expansion.
see.
But I did get an agent. It's AI. And I did get my first audition.
Could we say that's networking?
That's what I was just about to
Okay.
say. That is the key to everything. It's not just the moguls networking, it's down to the actor that wants to make it in it, or the director, or the camera person. Everything is networking.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of the time a movie gets made when a star is attached to it. But these old Hollywood studios, they would have a stable of stars, right?
Yes. That was the beginning of the star contracts. Betty Davis was the one that went against it. What is a star contract? Let's start there.
Okay.
Warner Brothers is one of the studios. They had a 5-year or 7-year contract, or a 7-picture contract, whatever it would be. Usually it was years. And Betty Davis would be at the studio, and they'd put her in this picture and that picture. And after a while, she was making money, she was known, she was important, right, for the studio. And then they wanted her to go and do this picture. I don't like that picture. And they say, you have to do, you're under contract. She went to a lawyer, and they started to fight something which was impossible to fight. And guess what? After several years, Olivia de Havilland did the same thing. They won. And they could be free to go and do a picture over here and do a picture there. They would stay as a Warner star, but they could actually go here and there. Now, Harry Cohn of Columbia, he would then borrow stars. He was the big little studio, they called it, Columbia, at Gower and Sunset, I might add. So the best example is it happened one night with Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable. Claudette Colbert and Clark Gable decided they were so big that they could actually talk back to Louis B. Mayer, who was the head of the studio. I want to do this. I want to do that.
He was really powerful.
He was
right?
very powerful. Yeah. Claudette Colbert was the biggest star at Paramount. And Clark Gable, the biggest star at MGM, paid astronomical salaries. And Harry Cohn wanted them for this picture. Mm-hmm. So deals were made. Bribery, changing stuff. And I'll give you Gable. And Clark Gable and Claudette did not want to go to Columbia.
Did it seem like a bad career move for them?
Yeah. So they went over there. And not only was the picture a success, each one won their only Academy Awards from this picture.
So they had to eat a little crow there once they... So would you say then, that movie hinged on them, so star power is important?
Yes. You have to remember, the script is important. The story is important. If it's a bad story or whatever, nothing will help it. It has to be a good director, a good star power. So, these things do come together, but I read all the time about casting choices for different films, and they want to cast so-and-so for this or so. For Sunset Boulevard is a perfect example. Gloria Swanson, Paramount, Sunset Boulevard, William Holden. They wanted Mary Pickford to play the part of Norma Desmond. I love Gloria Swanson. She was bigger than life. And in the film, William Holden says, "You were Norma Desmond. You were big." And she says, "Yes, I was big. It was the pictures got small."
Yeah.
What a line, right?
Yeah.
So this is how you build your picture. Star power is important. Also, you should always put in someone who is unknown.
Oh.
Your unknown girl
And I
should be in there.
I just passed my audition. I'm going to be an extra in a film. This is how it starts.
That's how it starts, and you're noticed.
Going back to Mary Pickford for a
Yes.
second. So was she able to make that transition from silent film to the talkies pretty
I'm
seamlessly?
glad you used her as a good example of this, because many people did not make it. And she did make the transition. Her voice was okay, but it was just not in the cards for her. She was already old hat.
Yeah.
She was the biggest superstar with Douglas Fairbanks in the world.
What was the name of their studio, or what do they have?
Pickford Fairbanks Studio, which became United Artists.
Okay, okay.
Then eventually they lost control of UA, and they decided to sell out. And they were out. Doug Fairbanks told a friend of his, they were at the studio in 1929 at the coming of sound. And Doug said, "Let's go over to one of the stages, see what they're building in there. Sound stages, I might add." So they went in, and they're building this thing there, and Doug is silent. And
Which is kind of his thing, I guess.
But I mean, he was silent there, standing there, and the guy goes, "Are you feeling okay?" He says, "No, I'm not okay. It's over for me." He's telling him he's over. Now, what do you mean it's over? You're not that old. He was in his late 40s. What do you mean it's over for you? This is not me. Silent film was me, kind of, as he was kind of insinuating. The point about all of this is that certain people, their era is over. Other people, it's beginning. There were others in the silent era that had great voices and that could go on. John Gilbert, who was the biggest star with Greta Garbo, goes on. Greta Garbo went on to the sound industry successfully.
In that same vein, some of the performers that came from the vaudeville tradition or the comedy, the Laurel and Hardy, like the Stan and Ollie, were they able to kind of like transition on in their careers too?
Yes, they were. I mean, everyone from Buster Keaton to Laurel and Hardy, Chaplin went on, all of them from the stage. They all knew how to speak. They knew how to project. They knew how to do their voices, character, all this. They're the ones that succeeded. John Barrymore stars in Don Juan, the first sound synchronized film for sound. That means music and synchronizations and sound effects of sword fighting. They didn't speak, still silent.
Okay.
It was a success.
But there's some sound design to it.
It was a success. Yeah. Next was The Jazz Singer with Al Jolson, who was from the stage. Strong voice, vaudeville, and all this. And basically, when the Jazz Singer became a success, Warner Brothers gambled all their money on outfitting theaters with sound equipment. If that flopped, the whole industry would have flopped. As soon as that was a success, every studio started to build sound stages, this and that. But get this, actors, we're talking about the whole industry of speech therapists, acting coaches, projection,
dialect
coaches became an industry within the industry. I have ads for all this.
That's cool.
I have ads for this school and that school popped up, and everybody's being tutored how to speak.
A whole career of sound engineers.
Sound engineers didn't know what the heck they were doing. They had all this equipment coming from the Bell Laboratories and other laboratories to instruct young technicians what a microphone is. I mean, how does it take the sound into this microphone, amplify it with special tubes, which led to this and that. I mean, it's complicated, a whole industry. So the whole industry was retooled. Literally, I remember when film went out in Hollywood, all the cameramen had to go and learn how to use a digital camera.
Digital, yeah. Quick check-in here with Nicole.
Yeah, so, I've been doing a lot to improve my acting. I've been telling jokes, which helped me then improve my banter with friends. And I thought I was really solid on this acting career. And I just got this prompt that says, you're an outcast.
Oh.
Do you want to join the criminal career path?
Wait, what?
I don't know. I can't speak to the game as to why that happened. But from what I've been listening to, the path to acting and the path to being a criminal, they seem to sometimes, intermingle a little bit.
Imposters.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to stay true to my acting
You
roots.
could portray a criminal on screen.
And I would go undercover.
Method acting.
But yeah, I've been using my skills to better communicate with my friends that I'm making in the game.
Is your name California?
I did name her California.
Wow. That's a great stage name.
Yeah.
Very good.
And so, I'm doing well. I've passed my first audition. I'm practicing my acting right now. You can see my skill points going up. And I basically don't do anything except eat, sleep, shower, and look at myself in the mirror and practice.
They want to see your face. They want to see, are you that type that we need? That's why you're looking in the mirror all the time. Am I the type? Can I do this? Can I do that? That's what they want.
And studios would, especially for women, they'd give you a ton of work to change you and mold you into the person they wanted,
right?
right?
Go see A Star Is Born again.
Yes.
There's 4 Stars Borns. And the first one is Janet Gaynor. She plays this little girl, wants to be an actress, and she's all like, a little mousy and all this. And they bring her to the studio and then bring her to the makeup department, casting department, this.
Yeah.
And they're about, oh, you have to change your name. Your name is horrible. You're going to have this name.
Would you say that's one of the
horrible.
most common ways in which actors, and specifically actresses, were told to change their names?
Yes. Names were always changed. And their look too. I remember Jean Harlow was brown hair, but it was the time of platinum blondes, and they put her in platinum blonde, and it worked.
Who was that famous actress of Latina descent that they like lasered her hairline? They made her more white presenting.
Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was the greatest dancer around, like Fred Astaire and all those people. But they wanted her to be an actress, and dancing was a part of it. Like in Gilda, there's incredible dancing involved with it. Her hairline was very much Latino hairline. They took that away. They colored her hair light and blondish. They changed even the way her face is, and they didn't do plastic surgery. Just the way that they teach you how to act or how to appear. It's a completely manufactured way of manufacturing a star.
And so sad.
As time went on, she wanted more to be like a person again. Because remember, these are human beings.
People forget.
Right, they forget. They're not robots.
They're not Sims.
No, they're not exactly what we're doing here, which is manipulating a fake person. So yeah, I want to talk to you about like some of those early like directors, auteurs. Like who are the ones that stand out to you?
Thomas Ince is the first mogul, director, whatever, to create the shooting script as we know today. The shooting script really has all of the direction of how to do everything. Camera work, where the point of view of the camera would be, what the dialogue would be, where the actors would be standing. I mean, so if you gave me your script, to me, I would make that and it would look like your production, a Thomas Ince production. And that's how it was for years and years. So it does help to have the director to mold your stars in many ways, to show the inner qualities of what that star might have. As a bad guy, a good woman, bad woman, whatever it is, it takes the director to bring it out. To make the great picture is the story, your stars, your director, the main elements. Stunts and car chases.
That all flash?
It's all flat. It's all to layer it.
Yeah. Well, we've got a star right here, so we just need to find the other two.
And so I like it how she's beginning. She's looking at herself. She will become noticed and eventually will get her chance to show herself in some film or something, to show up and people notice, oh my God, you were good in that.
There's a lot happening here.
There's some animal
a big, big blue thing just ran by. This looks like a circus. Nicole, I'll be real with you.
That's set life, baby.
Do you think this is the part that's going to send us to stardom?
Yeah. I don't know if set life in The Sims is similar to set life in real life, but in this set, you just walk around introducing yourself to people, which I think, in the networking lens of things, is smart. I just completed my first gig.
Yay!
And
Showbiz
it led
is
to
easy.
this book.
So this is Treasures from the Bison Archives, Hollywood
It's about
Behind
me,
the
what
Lens.
I just told you.
Yeah.
How I got into
Your
it.
story.
And how I got involved in every historic picture and piece of memorabilia as part of me.
I put a bookshelf in, and I'm going to make her read in honor of your books right now.
Then she has to read these books. We have aviators in early Hollywood. Aviation since the beginning in 1903 with the first narrative film. They were already shooting the Wright brothers. And already so many films have aviation involved in it. Actresses, stars like Mary Pickford, Ruth Rowland, and many others had their own planes and flew their planes. Charlie Chaplin's brother had an aviation line going to Catalina Island called the Sidney Chaplin Airways. I mean, this is an incredible story in itself, and all the stunts and everything in films. Then, let's see, we have San Fernando Valley. That's the
Valley.
first
Important
studio.
part.
First studio was Universal, really, in the Valley, 1912. But the Bison Film Company was already using the site of the first studio, which was Universal, for the Bison films, because it was the real West. Early Beverly Hills.
Not as ritzy as you might think.
Interestingly enough, the founders of Beverly Hills, Silsby Spaulding, Burton Green, and others owned ranches in the San Fernando Valley. One of the ranches was the ranch that Universal purchased.
Oh.
So some of the money that was purchased for the Universal went into the creation of Beverly Hills. How do you like that for intertwining?
Go check out all of Mark's work. We'll link to it as well. Nicole, how can people continue to support our show here, Won't You Be My Gamer?
You can head to pbssocal.org/gamer and make a donation. Any amount is helpful. It's how this is possible and how it will continue to be possible. we appreciate any amount you can donate, and thank you in advance.
Yeah, thank you for subscribing and sharing the show too. That really, really helps a lot.
Absolutely.
This has made me want to just go watch. I already love watching movies, but now I want to watch even more movies. I love
that's
this
the
town.
point. I want younger people to learn their roots of the whole history of Los Angeles and the film industry, and all the people that are forgotten in it that made a contribution.
Even California is
Even
making her own
California.
Even
contribution.
California is going to do this.
She's going to
Yeah.
make it, and it's because she practices.
You're gonna make it, baby.
Right.
Now it's time for bed.
Oh, she's already asleep.
Yeah.